The most difficult thing for us to do is exist in the liminal space in between. Mm-hmm. Right? We can send the ball down the gutters. They'll go straight, but they're not going to hit over the pins like we hope.
Right.
It takes some effort and some connection to ourselves and all that stuff to be able to keep the ball in the middle of the bowling lane so that we can have a result that we're looking for.
Hi, I'm Caroline Howard, a biblical counselor and certified life breakthrough coach.
And I'm Chris Oneth, marriage and family therapist and executive director of Downey Park Counseling Associates.
Welcome to our next question, where we attempt to answer the questions of life through conversations in psychology and Christianity.
Remember, this is a place of discovery and definitely not the final answer. Here we are.
You know, I just have to say this. It's funny because we talk off camera.
Maybe.
A little bit.
No, we never speak when we're not recording.
Awkward silence until the recording button has been pushed.
I love awkward silence.
Woohoo!
It's one of my favorite things. But we'll start talking and we'll be like, no, stop, don't say that. Wait till we're recording.
That's right. Yes, that happens.
And it cracks me up. We haven't acknowledged yet that it's baseball season. I'm all decked out in my baseball gear.
You got a weird math shirt that doesn't make sense.
It's a double play.
Okay, whatever.
I explained this to you guys earlier.
Everybody still else doesn't make any sense.
When you saw that shirt, did you go, oh man, I need that shirt, because you knew exactly what it meant?
Yeah, because I often do the scorebook for my son's games. And so you have to use the numbers. Like every position is a number. And so the ball just got hit to 6. That's the shortstop is number 6.
Oh, is that right?
So yeah, and so
wait, on the jersey, or is that just a position?
No, that's just on the like little diagram of.
I want to be number
players.
77 in whatever sport I do.
You can. That's fine, because that's Jesus' number.
No, there's a group when I was a kid, a Christian group, actually a cool Christian group, not the cheesy ones.
Okay, wait. This is where we're going right now.
Oh, this is where we're
our
going.
question.
Yes.
Oh. Bands as a kid. Let's go. I got some good ones. Okay,
a lot of the bands as a kid I still listen to today.
Yeah.
I grew up on Kenny Rogers, Jimmy Buffett. I had a crush on Pat Benatar.
Did you belong to the night?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, Pat Benatar. I love you, Pat.
My dad looked like Kenny Rogers.
Really?
Yeah, he would grow out his beard, and I'll have to find a picture. And he played the guitar, and he sang, and he would do Kenny Rogers. It was awesome.
I would mimic the vocal fry that, from Kenny Rogers as a kid.
That's so funny.
Really? Are you saying you were doing impressions?
Absolutely.
As a shocker.
Glad you're sitting.
He came out of the womb crying in different languages.
That's right. Like that. It was weird.
Caleb, who did you grow up listening to as a kid?
Well, the thing is, we always listened to K-Love growing up pretty constantly. Okay. So I didn't really get exposed to a wide range. So you heard the same song
over and over again. I'm so sorry I said that. Okay.
I still listen to K-Love, to be fair. I think my first, actual band that I really got into would be around high school. So this is going to be way different from you guys, because it was the band Fun.
Oh, I remember Fun with a period.
Yep.
Fun, period.
Yep. There you go. So
what were some of their hits?
Carry On.
Carry On My Way.
No, that's a different
That's
group.
Kansas.
Carry On.
I'm trying to remember what their big one. Yeah, that one.
Carry On.
Yeah.
Man, it's been so long, but I listened to a lot of their stuff. What was their? They had a big hit that I can't remember at this point. Yeah, we are young.
Yeah,
that was one. Yep. Some Nights. Yeah,
sure.
Stuff like that.
I liked all of those.
What about the Fray? Did you like the Fray?
I'm not familiar.
Whoa!
Is this surprising?
Oh no, it's not.
He's making it up. I've never heard of it either.
What year did you graduate?
From high school?
Yeah, that
was 2015.
Okay, wow, yep. Dang. I have older kids that graduated 2013.
I grew up with John Denver, of course.
Absolutely.
Because whenever we get together, we're always playing the good old John Denver. Petra.
Oh boy.
Do you remember Petra?
Petra Praise.
Yeah. And then Amy Grant and Sandy Patty.
Oh boy,
those were my faves.
So it's now I'm not here to make fun of, but I remember being younger, and I grew up, like I said, my music was eclectic. My mom listened to stuff. My dad listened to like easy listening.
Yeah.
So like Spanish Flea and Theme from a Summer Place and instrumental stuff. And so I ended up liking that too.
Like I call that elevator music.
Yes,
like,
elevator music. Heck
you
yeah.
would listen to it in my dad's truck, and I'd be like, "Wait, I know these words. There's supposed to be words in this song, but
no. It wasn't elevator music per se of instrumental versions of voiced songs.
Yeah.
These like Theme from a Summer Place.
Oh, okay.
I think that had lyrics, but you just know the tune anyway.
Yeah.
Send me back. But I grew up appreciating all kinds of music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I remember my first 8-track album. We did have The Gambler, but I also had AC/DC, Back in Black, and I remember putting that into the big old fat console that we had. It was a piece of furniture that you would listen to music. So I put that sucker in there, and I remember my mom reading the paper, and I'm listening to AC/DC. Black, and all this other stuff, and she's just kind of minding her own business.
That's
and
funny.
She was okay.
High school for me was Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Alanis Morissette.
Oh, heck
yeah.
That was...
Heck yeah.
I love all... That's my music right there.
Totally. And I when I was younger and in high school, it seemed that a lot, and I hate to say this again, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it. Well, maybe I'm not sorry. I don't know. It's difficult to say. But
we'll find out.
Some of the Christian music seemed pretty cheesy.
Lately I've been kind of going back and listening to like early 2000s Christian K-Love like on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's just kind of fun to like go back into that era. But
Sure.
I do agree, like it's definitely very cheesy.
So
you got like Newsboys and stuff too.
Yeah, and Newsboys is on the border.
It's different. Yep.
But then
the stuff that's supposed to be serious.
Yes.
In 90s, it was all about the octave change.
Oh.
Right? At the very end, it would change an octave.
And then you repeat it 5 more times.
Yeah.
So when really good Christian music started coming out, and this is music that could get like mainstream play.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, let's face it. Christians should not be excused just because they're Christian. It's like, okay, we'll let you have a song just because you're Christian. You put a Christian label on it. In fact, there's been stories of different artists not making it in the popular mainstream, and so they can convert, quote unquote, to Christian music, and they have more of a chance. Okay. So when good Christian music, I mean, we're talking about, I really Need to Breathe. I love. It doesn't seem cheesy at all to me, but what is it? Jennifer Knapp, man. We loved her.
From the glass alabaster she poured.
Yes.
That's every time.
Have mercy on me. I'm a girl. I may shiver and cry, but I know how to break a man.
So she went wayward.
Yeah.
But her music is still amazing.
But exactly.
Amazing.
And so, I mean, really appreciating. We also listened to Christian rap when the kids were growing up.
Yeah.
And
Christian rap is way different now.
Clever.
Because my son listens to it, and I'm like, maybe it's just because I'm old now.
You're old.
It's different now.
What is it like now? I want to hear.
Do tell.
It's just more. Maybe it's more like rap, where I think like earlier it didn't go along with mainstream rap.
Right.
It was definitely different. But you have Lecrae. Lecrae is. I do like Lecrae.
Right.
He's awesome. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Yeah, he listens. Yeah, but some of them is just that rap where you I have no idea what you just said. You talk too fast.
So no, but I mean the rap we liked to be clever.
Yeah.
Like tell the truth. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not be cheesy.
Yeah.
Of course. So cheesy, non-cheesy was a big criteria for us in a lot of the Christian music we listened to.
Something I just
like
heard.
The Fray.
A podcast I was listening to, and I cannot, her name, I think the gal that was on it is Annie something, and she's a musician. She was a Christian artist. Had a song that was kind of country, and Christian radio wouldn't play it because they said it was too country. And I love this quote. Let me see if I can say it right. She said, "But wait, Christian music shouldn't be a genre.
Right?
It should be a message."
Sure.
And I was like, "Well, I've never heard it said like that."
Well,
but it's so true, and I think we try to put it in its own little genre over here.
Yeah,
and
I think there are certain songs out there that don't have the label Christian, but are some of the most Christian songs. "In Your Eyes" by Peter Gabriel. Oh my gosh!
There's a lot that can be sung like.
Yeah, that's
a worship song.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Okay.
All right. Good question. That just kind of...
I know, it just kind of
organically. Victor were here to answer this question, too. I feel like it's really, really interesting.
Did you hear that, Victor?
We'll ask it the next time he's here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's outside the studio, actually, right now.
Oh, that's right.
He's
rapping on the window again.
Funny. I actually... I think I got someone to tune into our podcast because I name dropped Victor. And I was they said they had gone to Shelter Cove, and I said, I said, we have a podcast, and I asked them where they went to. Oh, it was Shelter Cove. I was like, oh yeah, we had Victor. And Victor, you had Victor? And it's like, well,
we got
now
Victor.
we're legit.
Dude, Victor's the man.
Yeah, and I said, and then I dropped Bob Irwin, and they, oh man, I love Bob. I was like, okay then.
We could have called Victor and done that over the phone.
Do tune
Next time.
Okay. So today's the next topic, of course, following up with our last topic, is what is control?
And now we're going to how do we let go of control?
Anyway,
I know, right?
Understand.
Everyone just turned us off.
Now here's the hard part, and this is the hard part with a lot of stuff. We're not talking about zero control, right? And people do want to operate, and this is a controlling behavior as well. They go in the black and white. It's all or nothing. So it's either, for example, what I've seen is dad is overbearing with kids. He either kind of lets stuff go out of a means of control and avoiding, and then he gets ticked, or mom says to her husband, or mom says to her husband, wife says to her husband, hey, I need you to be involved with the kids. So then he gets ticked and goes overbearing with the kids.
Yeah.
And wife says, hey, I need you to not be so overbearing. So he throws up his hands and says, okay, fine, I won't do anything. I'm out. Mm-hmm. That is all like controlling stuff. And so the most difficult thing for us to do is exist in the liminal space in between. Mm-hmm. Right? We can send the ball down the gutters. They'll go straight, but they're not going to hit over the pins like we hope.
Right.
It takes some effort and some connection to ourselves and all that stuff to be able to keep the ball in the middle of the bowling lane so that we can have a result that we're looking for. So when we're talking about giving up control, we're not talking about Jesus take the wheel. Is that right?
Is that an impression?
That's kind of right.
Jesus take the wheel.
Well, okay, so now I'm going to finish my story from last week.
Please do. You had a story that was so interesting
that we saved it for the next episode.
Saved it for this moment.
To bring you all back. Because, right, as Christians, we think, oh, God's in control of everything, so I have no control. And that's where I need to live. And I thought that too. So I'll just start my story over in case you didn't listen to last week.
I smashed it. I totally smashed it.
Go back and listen to last week.
Please do. You won't understand this episode if you don't.
Right. So 25-year-old daughter with special needs who likes to open the door as I'm going down the road at the speed limit.
Oi. I have anxiety even thinking about that situation.
Right. And so I did develop like severe anxiety with getting into the car with her and all of that. And so went to my therapist who does EMDR and was like, I need to EMDR this because I can't even be in the car with this child now. And so through working with that, he asked me like, well, what can you control in this situation, Caroline? Okay. And I was like, well, nothing, because God is in control. Like I have no control over any of this.
That's a good question.
And he was like, no, there are aspects that you can control.
Sure.
And seriously, I could not come up with the right answer because I had been raised with that religiosity of, no, God's in control of everything. You just have to let him deal with it. And he said, can you control pushing the button that turns on the child lock?
Bam.
And I was like, yeah.
Truth bomb.
I can do that. He was like, there's your control.
Right.
You can control making sure that button is pushed before you put her in the car.
So just out of curiosity, was the anxiety for you not being in control so constricting that you didn't even think of that option?
I think it was, that's not a good Christian answer.
Oh.
The Christian answer is, well, God's in control, so I really just need to learn how to fully trust God.
Okay. What does that even mean?
That if she opens the car door, everyone's just gonna be fine.
Okay.
Right? I had that was the bad Christian answer.
Right.
And so I couldn't think of anything that was my controlling because then I'm not a good Christian girl.
Okay.
I don't think that anymore. Like my eyes been open, and you can.
So we're definitely going to have to do a
podcast
on rebellion and when to rebel. Anyway.
Okay.
That's neither here nor there. Now, it's super important when we're talking about like how to kind of let go of control about the ideas of internal and external locus of control.
Okay.
Right? Internal locus of control is stuff I can control within myself inside of me. Mm-hmm. External locus is stuff outside of me, and the real problem happens when people are like someone who has an external locus of control says that they have no control. It's all circumstances. Mm-hmm. And so they will freeze up like the goats, that get scared and tip over, and they'll just say, oh, it's out of my control. And that may even be a type of control in which they're avoiding. Right. And so I don't know, I can't get a job. I keep on asking people and I just can't do anything about it. Whereas the insecurity, the shame, all that stuff, even the anxiety may be constricting them to the point where they lack creativity and even knowing what to do.
Right.
Right. And that goes back to, the internal locus of control is, okay, here's what I can take responsibility for. Here's what I can manage. Here's what I can do. Now, believe it or not, I'm glad you're all sitting down. But sometimes things are out of our control. So weird.
What?
And sometimes we cannot save ourselves. We need a savior. That's external. That's an external locus. Like we need Christ to save us.
Yes.
So there's a truth in it where it's out of my control. I can't do anything. I'm helpless. There's a truth in that. But it's not to the extreme where we do nothing.
Yeah.
And there's a truth in here's what I can do. People reach unhealth when they think when their internal locus of control is to the point where they think they have to control everything, like they are responsible for the spinning of the planet and the stars aligning.
Well, this is where a lot of parents think they control their kids.
Right.
Right. And so then when their kids are older, when their kids rebel,
oh boy.
It's all on them. It's their fault because they did something wrong. Because they should be able to control how their kids act.
Well, and so the usually the default is for a parent to look at themselves and say, could I have done something different? Should I have done something different? And believe it or not, a little bit of that is not a bad thing.
Right.
It means you're a good parent.
Right. Because yes, we can all do different stuff.
When
parenting.
We're not. I could have done that.
We're not Jesus raising kids.
No,
we're
it's
sinners
not perfect.
Raising sinners.
Yes.
It's got to be messy.
Asking yourself that question is not a bad thing.
Right.
Right. The other way to control is I have to be perfect. I don't want to do the wrong thing. I get all kinds of people sitting on the couch going, well, I don't want to go outside of God's will, or I don't want to make this wrong decision. And I say, look, you make a decision. And there's going to be benefits, drawbacks to one decision. There's going to be benefits, drawbacks to any other decision. Mm-hmm. So the idea of trying to control, quote unquote, whatever are negative outcomes, again, an aspect of control is trying to imagine an outcome being a perfect way. And then when it doesn't happen that way, it derailing you.
Right.
So the idea is, hey, we're not perfect and I'm not going to make a perfect decision. And you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So when we're talking about letting go of control, at least what I like to call the controlled slip. You know what that is?
The controlled slip?
You know what that is?
No.
Is that what you didn't do when you broke your arm?
Right, exactly. No, that was the out of control slip. No, definitely don't want to do that. Controlled slip is a driving term. When I took driver's ed back in the 1800s, it was where you let the steering wheel slip in your hand back to straight.
Yeah.
But you have your hand on the steering wheel.
I mean, I still do that, right?
Sure.
I still cross over when
You cross over and then you.
Well, not right now.
On the gas.
Right now I can't. Right now I'm driving.
You should not be driving, young lady.
I probably should. I have a self-driving car.
Did it self-drive on the way here?
No.
You're supposed to turn.
There's a lot to set up to get it into self-driving mode, and I just don't have the brain power right now.
Fair enough.
Controlled slip. Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay, so the steering wheel slips back to straight because the car wants to go straight. right? You turn it, and then if you come out of a turn and you press on the gas, the wheels of the front wheels of the car want to go straight, and so the steering wheel in the car goes back to straight, ostensibly. The controlled slip is you having your hand on the steering wheel and let that steering wheel slip through your hands until it gets to the desired location of where you want it.
And you grab on tight.
Right.
Stop it.
So it's not, and believe it or not, I mean, whether you're motorcycle riding or skiing or bike riding or even driving a car, the number one thing they tell you to do is to relax.
Yeah.
Because if you're tense, it's too much control. If you're falling asleep, that's not good either. So being able to be aware and relaxed, right? And that has to do with your own emotional regulation. So
it makes me think of old people because
who's to say you're not an old person?
Right now I feel like
I would never.
I know.
Junior over there.
I like Caleb better. Old people fall so much because they're so afraid of falling.
Oh, interesting.
Right? That then they're tense about it and then that causes them.
They also just aren't as good at balancing.
They're not.
Their inner ear is all jacked up.
And you shouldn't put your arm out. I don't know.
When you
fall, you gotta fall on your face.
I don't know the best way to fall for an old person. I don't want to.
We need to look that up.
Injury.
What is the best way to fall?
On your face, because you're not putting your arms out.
Because a broken nose is better.
They create like personal airbags that you can wear as like a backpack that'll automatically inflate.
So they do that for motorcycle. They have motorcycle vests with that too.
There you go.
You need that. Do they have that for your helmet?
Don't tell me
extra.
What? I have a helmet. Everything's fine.
He doesn't need that. He's in control.
The moneymaker is protected. So this goes back to the relationship we have with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Emotional, spiritual, mental, physical. Making sure you are well connected, and even when it comes to, because again, an aspect of control is wanting to control the emotions you have or not want to have. And so if I just manage traffic, then I'll be okay. No, it doesn't happen that way. It means you manage yourself in the circumstance so that you don't have to control others or the universe or whatever.
So this is what I did after my daughter wouldn't go to her program, and I realized she was stuck at home with me.
Oh boy!
I go into my closet and I sit down in the dark.
I was going to say, it's a good idea. Find the vodka.
I have my little emotional breakdown.
Okay.
But I immediately, well, first of all, I do bilateral stimulation, which is really hard to do butterfly taps right now. Let me just tell you. And I work through the emotions. Okay. What am I feeling right now?
Okay.
Right? Because I've got to get my thinking.
Where is your daughter when this is happening?
I didn't really.
She was just in the house.
And you released control.
I had told her to go put her lunch away in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
So, here's the thing. She is like a boomerang.
Oh.
She will come right back to find me.
Because
that's I'm the object of her separation anxiety.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I know that
you're the drug.
I am the drug. And I know she'll come right back. So,
okay.
But I worked through the emotions of what am I feeling right now, right? Overwhelmed, out of control, frustrated, and I kind of walked myself
very good
through all of those, like in that emotion, like, okay, well, there's a part that I'm not in control of, like I can't control what she does to a point.
And so instead of upping the ante, and a lot of times it's interesting because a lot of relationship conflict gets out of control because each party is trying to control the other instead of controlling themselves.
Right.
This is why I have the I in voice, VOICE. I is internal control. Instead of externally trying to control everything.
Right.
It's like, okay, how am I experiencing this? What am I going through right now? Why do I want this to stop? Why am I trying to make it stop? Can I make it stop?
Right. What I really wanted to do was go and scream and yell at her and
fair enough.
Tell her how she just ruined my whole entire day.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right? But what would that have done?
Sure. Nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you would feel like crap afterward.
Probably. Depends on the day.
Let's face it. Sometimes it's cathartic. So, relationship with self, being able to manage that stuff and be fully attuned to that, because otherwise you will try to, instead of controlling yourself, you'll try to control others. You'll try to over control the environment. Right. So when you're connected properly to yourself, then in a relationship with others, you can actually be in their space, or you could even provide them more understanding. So the guy that cuts me off in traffic, I'm not like, he hates me and wants me to die. I'm like, okay, you know what? He's got other problems.
Yeah.
Or other things he's dealing with.
Yeah.
That I'm not even knowledgeable of. Not to excuse the behavior,
right.
but it's like I don't need to get caught up in that. I can separate from that as he is him. And then when it comes to like closer relationships, if my wife has a problem with me or my kids or whatever, I can like hear them out and I can be with them. I don't have to say, you stop that or whatever. Yeah, it's true. Now, what about relationship with the environment or the place around us? Now, this gets even into, and this can get into relationships with self and others, is that avoiding type of principle. Do we try to control it by avoiding it? People who often live in a messy environment, and I'm speaking to a mirror here, I know that I avoid it because I don't want to deal with it, and so I go find something fun to do.
How's that work for you?
The mess doesn't clean itself up. It's weird. So it's like,
really,
especially my wife is house sitting for another house, so I'm left alone in the trailer.
Oh,
and for some reason the dishes aren't cleaning themselves. I can't figure it out. I actually
because mine are actually cleaning. Miraculously, my dishes are getting done right now.
That is amazing.
I don't know how it's happening.
So I actually swept the floor the other day. So I know it's crazy, but it also feels good to engage in those things,
right?
And it feels good to actually take on the control that I can take on, manage the environment, make it a space that I can appreciate, and then it lowers my anxiety, and then I don't have to control other things that I really have no control over.
So isn't that interesting? Because some people will say that that's not okay. I think this is okay, right? Life is chaotic.
Yes.
Things are out of control. It's okay to go, what is something I can control?
Sure.
And do that if it's your space, right? Because I know
totally.
I don't know this, I'll just say for women, for me, if life is chaos, I will go home, and if my house is chaos, I can manage this. So everything's getting organized and cleaned.
Okay, yeah.
And now I can deal.
You become quite good at it,
right? And that's not wrong. It's wrong if I don't go back and like maybe deal with those things that are out of control. Like I can't control this, but let's figure out.
I think that is a very good point because we're like, here's what I can control, and that and that can get even ramped up.
Well, that's where like every good thing can become.
Yes, every unhealthy behavior is an extreme healthy behavior. We got to get T-shirts.
So if all I do is work on now, all I'm going to focus on is the things I can control.
Oh, listen,
and then everything that's chaotic can just stay over there. Well, it still has to get dealt with.
I've seen situations where family members are trying to control the environment around them.
Yeah.
And so you pick up your drink from the table and they're right there wiping because of the ring. It's like, but I'm not done. Or you put the drink down and it's not done yet and it's swept up because they're trying to control the mess.
My mom was queen of just taking the glass and putting it in the dishwasher, and we'd be like, where'd my water glass go?
Wait, water, huh?
Yes, water.
Okay, wink, wink. Oh, I'm just kidding. This is water, by the way. It's water. This is
okay,
water.
Wink, wink.
It is.
Just smell that later.
Yeah, exactly. You can't smell it. No, I'm just kidding. That is interesting. So that gets into, again, the unhealthy aspect of it. Healthy aspect, okay, here's what I can't control. Here's what I can. Healthy, that's healthy. Unhealthy is, I don't want to control that. I don't want to deal with that. So I go overboard in this other area. And boy, when I say overboard. Oh, you breathed in like you were going to say something.
I'm preemptively. I got continue. Sorry.
Okay. Yes.
He's ready.
Yeah. No, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
He's ready.
I'm ready.
Say it.
Say what?
What you were going to say?
I don't have anything to say. I was just ready for what you were going to say.
I don't like the cut of your jib, pal. No.
It all feels out of control.
I'm trying to be
now.
polite and not just talk.
And I'm trying to avoid.
Typical Caleb.
I'm leaving.
So it's interesting how I see in couples relationships, controlling behavior can actually come across in jabs.
Yeah.
Like, well, because you don't even care.
Good old passive aggressive.
Oh, don't you love it? And that then creates more anxiety. And then the other person tries to control that. So they jab and away we go. The loop has started.
So fun.
And it happens with, and even in parenting. Like what can you control? Well, you can control the relationship you have with your kids. Yeah. You can control spending time with them. You can control not address every time you address them that it's some sort of correction or something they're doing wrong. You can say, hey, how's it going? Hey, let's say you want to come with me and do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can control that. Mm-hmm. And that creates potentially the ability to have relationships. So then it's not constantly coming down on them. Yeah. Because guess what? They'll have their control issues too. And part of their control issue is, no, I don't want to do what you're telling.
Right.
So, yeesh. But hey, you know what? As a parent, it's okay if I have my control issues. Not okay if those kids do.
Man, passive aggression is such a, I don't know, it comes up all the time. But I feel like it's because it's like you keep like the high ground, you put someone else down. Yeah. And you're like, well, I didn't really mean it. It's almost like you're fooling yourself. You're covering it as like it was a joke or
I'm
sarcasm.
Just trying to.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not helpful to anybody.
Yes.
It's not constructive. It's not. It's just something that we find satisfying in the moment because it.
Yes. So, any other thoughts on how to let go of control? Again, it's not totally letting go.
Right.
It's letting go in the right measure.
Right.
It's taking charge where we need to, letting go where we need to, and it takes a life of learning those two to develop the wisdom. Yeah. To be able to do that. And if we find ourselves running away or over controlling, it's the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So don't be thinking you're virtuous by saying, I'm just not getting involved, because that could be as unvirtuous as demanding of everybody around you.
Yeah. I think it's good with control to do that introspective look of why am I trying to control this?
Right. What do I need to control right now?
Right. What am I hoping to gain from this?
Right.
Is it that peace? Is it that I don't want to get hurt?
Sure.
Is that, because there's a root issue to why you're trying to control.
Totally.
So find that root issue, right? And that will help you to be able to let go of control. Because we can't just say, just let go of control. Well, I can't just let go of control, because then there goes all the peace I'm trying to get. Well, why are you trying? Why am I trying so hard to get peace? Right. And for me to work through that.
Sure. And I've seen in especially when grown children are concerned, where a parent will try to, by passive aggressively saying something or constantly lecturing, trying to control their adult children and the lifestyle choices they make. And so that becomes the relationship, and the adult child is like, boy, it's hard to have a relationship with mom and dad because they're constantly lecturing me. So obviously you can't control some of their choices, even though you're like gritting your teeth and being like, step away from the cliff.
Yeah.
Here's what you can control. You can control like having them over for dinner, hanging out.
Yeah.
And just like enjoying their company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we both have adult children that we parent. We do. And I think the best advice would be like, let it go. Let go of the control you think you have over them. Just be in relationship.
It reminds me of a very wise lyric from a very wise musician.
Disney?
You got to know when to hold them.
I thought we were going to sing
Know when
Let
to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run.
Yeah. Run.
You never count your money.
Just run.
As you're sitting at the table.
Sing that whole song.
There'll be time for enough for counting.
You might be infringing on copyright now.
No, he's not singing it. I think it's fine.
Oh, it is?
When the dealing is done.
He's just speaking somewhat rhythmically.
It's like a Shatner.
Oh, is this how we have to do it now? See, I thought you were going to sing or say, let it go. Let it go.
I don't know the lyrics to that song. I am one with
the wind and something.
I don't know about that.
Let it go. Let it go.
I don't know. Disney's going to come for us.
I know, right?
They will
They'll
come
figure
for
out
us.
a way.
They will.
Kidding,
they've
Disney.
got a lot of lawyers and a lot of money.
So sorry.
I want to posit a theory as a lay person here.
Okay.
Go ahead, peasant.
I don't know. I was just thinking that anxiety can be a signpost that you're not at a healthy point of control, whether it be like you're trying to control too much that you can't, or that you're avoiding things and that's causing anxiety. Not to say that anxiety is always a sign of that, but
you're absolutely right. It is a gauge. Right. And so I think to your point, I think what you're talking about is either you're trying to control everything along the way and the load is too much. You've taken on too much load. Yep. So then even the normal things in your life that shouldn't cause you to blow out are way too much. because you've taken on a lot of stuff in other areas. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is you've avoided until it's too late. Mm-hmm. Then you're overwhelmed about what to do. Yeah. So in being an agent for yourself and being proactive, you responsibly, take the control of what you need to, you let go of what you don't, and then you're not at a place where you're blown out or scared.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good point.
It's kind of interesting. I feel like it goes back and forth, right? Having anxiety causes you to want to control things. Feeling like you don't have control can cause anxiety. Right? Because I used to struggle with anxiety a lot, but I worked on it severely in the last few years. So I don't really struggle. I don't have anxiety attacks like I used to or anything.
Oh, wow.
But last night at 2:00 in the morning, I woke up with extreme anxiety because my arm hurt and I couldn't move it. And so and then I started to feel claustrophobic. And I'm like, I don't have control over my arm right now. And it created a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
So it can become this like crazy loop.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, you mentioned anger in the last episode as well as being a sign of
absolutely
when we can't control those things that we want to control, right?
Yeah. Oh, because and again, if we actually sat and talk to ourselves, communicate with ourselves, and we're like, okay, I'm not just angry, there may be other feelings. And if we name some other feelings, 99 times out of 10, feelings of help.
100?
10.
Oh,
I know, it's great. It's weird math.
Cinco de Mayo.
We will realize it's not just angry. It's anxious. It's helpless. It's confusion. It's a lot of stuff.
It's messy.
I'm telling you, lots of moving parts. So when it comes to control, man, there's stuff we do have to give to God.
It's a hard one.
And there's stuff that God is prompting us to do. And it's a lifetime of self-connection and connection with our Lord that lead us to be able to say, okay, I'm starting to figure it out. Starting to get an inkling, then you get home to be with Jesus.
I just want to go there.
There's so much to do.
Nope, done.
He's here with us now, too.
There you go. Thank you, Lord. Okay.
Awesome. We said it all?
I think so.
We barely scratched the surface, but we said enough.
That's true.
We got more questions in the future. So.
Yes, we do. We have more questions than answers.
Okay.
All right, see you guys next week.
You bet. Thanks for joining us today as we continue our journey talking about life's many questions.
To stay connected with us, you can follow us at Downey Park Counseling on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also follow Caroline on Instagram at Relatable Caroline. And make sure you tune in next week for our next question.